Hey y'all, this is Gino back with another War of the Rings cast. This is again, it's a game where I am playing the Free People. I've been trying to practice them, and where Upward is playing the Shadow. I've decided to make this a little bit different and instead present from kind of midway through the game. I think that the choices that we both made were totally fine. Up until here, there wasn't a ton of um, interesting choices so far, and I just kind of decided to present at this point because it's just kind of cool. I don't know if you guys have seen this before, but Deadly Strife. I could have presented this from a little bit later. There's not a ton of choices right now, but um, I just played Ince Rage into Deadly Strife, which just guarantees 5 automatic hits, which is it's kind of fun. I don't. This is the first time I've had this happen, so it's +2 +2, so even a 1 gives you a 5. So, anyways, so let's kind of like look at the situation. I am at step one at so let's look at the first fellowship. So completely down to Gollum and at 6 corruption. Um, and I'm at step two of the Mordor track. So looking bad. That being said, I do have both Bilbo's Song and Mithril Coat and Sting. So that's going to bring me to what I think is a pretty decent corruption rate at the Fellowship track. The problem is it's a very high variance track. If I get File, like boy, it will make so much. It will make everything so much easier. A lot of things start to become less scary. But if I get any of these stops, but again, I've got a Mithril Coat and Sting, then things will be looking much much better. Um, so, yeah, kind of an interesting thing there. You can see my opponent's got Breaking of the Fellowship, which is used for Dread and Despair. Can't really use that anymore. And then Shadow Lengthens, which is a good reinforcement card. They've got 3, so they already have Lorien plus Pelargir. And then they've got 1, 2, 3 more under Siege. So that's going to bring them up to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then probably with Edoras will be their 10. So they're just kind of looking for basically all of the southern nations avoiding dew. Um, so that's kind of what they're looking at. Um, and then you can kind of see what I've got. I've got Guards of the Citadel, which is great. Unfortunately, Denethor's Folly is already out. I mean, you can kind of see it's kind of like an interesting situation. Um, and I have also Path of the Woses, which I'm thinking about for reclaiming Pelargir. Um, anyways, I'm just gonna go from here on to basically what happens with Helm's Deep. So I've got automatic 5. They get 3. They press, and this is kind of a yeah. I don't know. It it started to look a little bit in my favor, but if you look at Helm's Deep, there's 3 units there now against what is 6, 7, 8. It's an unlikely battle. I go with no card. My opponent gets 2. They get 1. They press. No card. No card. We both get 1, and they're able to take it. The nice thing is I depleted these forces so that it will be harder to take Edoras. I pass. My opponent gets the Mouth of Sauron. I play Mithril Coat and Sting, which my opponent I'm sure is not happy about. My opponent moves their armies, taking the large army down from Lorien, and then taking the army with the mouth out from Minas Morgul. And at this point, I'm thinking, oh no, they're going to stop in Osgiliath, and they're going to block my reclamation of Pelargir, which would kind of suck. But I play Bilbo's Song, since there is a chance that I will be able to sprint with the Fellowship next turn, and my opponent gets ready to go ahead and take over Edoras and Helm's Deep and Dol Amroth. Okay. Threats and Promises and Grond. Grond is great. Threats and Promises, what's on the bottom? Devilry of Orthanc can be pretty good, depending on if you've got stuff. I draw Guahir, which is actually not bad because underneath of this stack, there is Gandalf. And with Gua here, you can move as well. I mean, level 4, but you can move into Under Siege. So 1, 2, 3, 4 into Minas Tirith. If I had gotten the other one that goes ahead and gives you +1 or +2, and you can move into Under Siege, I could have gotten into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into Dol Amroth. The reason why I'm a little bit less keen on Minas Tirith is because there's more troops here. There's Denethor's Folly, and they will still get leadership from the mouth. So, but maybe I'd do that. I also get Aomir, which is great for mustering Rohan. So it really depends on what my role is. If I get a lot of Palantirs, I can make some trouble militarily and move a little bit slowly. So my opponent rolls. They unfortunately get 3 eyes. And I get this roll, which does allow me to possibly get in, with God luck. 1, 2, 3, 4. But again, if you look at the hunt, I would need to get 1, 2, 3, 4. I do get 1 retry with Mithril Coat and Sting, but it's very unlikely that I'm going to get in this turn. But if you also look at my opponent, they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attacks, which is good. But also somewhat unlikely that they're going to be able to get in. I need 1 attack in Westonet, 1 attack in Edoras, and then 1 attack. I mean, and then you have to move your Nazgul, basically. You're not going to be able to take Minas Tirith or Dol Amroth. So move Nazgul, and then 1 attack in Minas Tirith and 1 attack in Dol Amroth. So, possible, unlikely. I would say, for winning this turn. I don't think they're likely to take Minas Tirith on a single die. Okay. But they do have Grand, so actually, it's looking like they will be able to take it. So you can and this is kind of where the puzzle comes in. I don't think you're going to win this turn as free people. So what do you do to go ahead and try to stave folks off? You can play Aomir. You can play this Will of the West to go ahead and buff up Rohan, hope that your opponent vacates Osgiliath, and then Path of the Woses down here and retake Pelargir. That could be pretty good. You could Gwahir, Gandalf into Minas Tirith. You could sprint. I do think sprinting is the wrong choice. And I would love to actually know in your comments what you would do, because this is, if there are turns in the game that are crucial, this is the crucial turn. As for Shadow, I think you want to try to win this turn. I think that there is some chance that I think you want to try to win this turn. And so I think that you attack into Westham, you attack into Edoras, you move Nazgul, and you attack Dol Amroth and Minas Tirith. You try your best. So let's see what happens. I go ahead and I use this. I really don't want Day Without Dawn. It would be really effective for my opponent. And I actually muster in Edoras because I think that I am not going to be able to win this turn. I don't want to be moving against so many eyes regardless. So I'm thinking I'll move once. Hopefully not get revealed, but if I do get revealed, then I can hide. My opponent attacks Westamnet. We both do no cards. I think that's fine. And I think to myself, I do think this is a slight mistake. I do think to myself, okay, I need to be ready to recapture Pelargir. So I'm going to save this Palantir for playing Path of the Woses. I think playing Aomir actually would have been a better move in this case. Continue to muster up Rohan. So anyways, I do move. I draw a 0 reveal, the best thing I could possibly draw. sort of starts to make looking like sprinting is a better idea. Um, my opponent moves troops around, defending Pelargir. It's kind of strange. This move didn't make a ton of sense to me. I would have put one troop into fold and not moved these three troops to Pelargir. There's no way that I can get to Pelargir except for with Path of the Woses, and you block that being in Osgiliath. So if you're kind of worried about Path of the Woses, it just doesn't really make a ton of sense. I guess they're thinking about moving these three over to Dol Amroth to reinforce it. Um, I hate to do it. I think I'm going to move. And yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure if moving is the right move. I do want to be able to win next turn. Is basically my idea. I have Mithril Coat, um, so I try it. Um, I do have so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I've got a 3 out of 9 chance to go ahead and get something good, and then uh, I after that, if I don't get something good, I've got a 3 out of 8 chance to get something good. So yeah, I could quickly do the math. I'm not going to do the math right here, but it's a better than 50-50 chance that I've got something good on this. So I decide to take it. I get the one stop reveal, and I use Mithril Coat and Sting on it. I had already decided that I'm going to be using this on any of these, and I get a 2. Um, which, yeah, I think, in this move, there was a better than 50-50 chance that I would go ahead and get something good. So, I mean, obviously it sucks that I've gotten so many good things, and the hunt pool is now just dangerous. I decide to reveal um, because it's likely that I will get 1, 2, 3 movement next turn. So hide, move, move. Plus, I can use one more ring. So I may as well just sort of reduce the amount of damage that I get. Um, and so I do that. Put that back in. Mithril Coat is gone. My opponent attacks Edoras. We both play no card. They get 1 hit. I get 1 hit. They press. I retreat to fold. And they move their characters. At this point, I kind of see that it's unlikely that they are going to win this turn. Low, I did not notice, or I did not know that they had Grand. So I decide to pass, thinking to myself that if they do take Minas Tirith, I will go ahead and Path of the Woses into Osgiliath and attack back. They play Grand, which is sad, very, very sad. I can't play any cards. So they get 2 hits. I don't get a hit back. They get 2 hits. I get 2 back. And they get 1 hit. I get 0 back. So at this point, I know they cannot. They can't win. So. Oh, they press, of course, and they get their 2 hits. I'm so sorry. I was confused there. So at this point, I still am like, okay, they can possibly win this turn. I should at least give myself, if they do attack Dol Amroth, I should give myself the chance to retake Pelargir. And so I do Path of the Woses. I think at this point, I don't know. I don't know what I would do as my opponent. I think attacking Dol Amroth is the right thing to do. I play Daylight into their Mumakil. Always a good thing to see. They get 1. I get 1 back. They press. No cards. They get 2. Press. Get none. So ultimately, I'm feeling a little bit bad in that I have this Aomir. I kind of wish I did Aomir. and now these guys in Osgiliath are kind of like useless. Can't really do too much. Guards of the Citadel, useless. Aemir, I can't play this. So y'all can kind of think what you would do as your last little bit, but I decided to attack Blargir. I think there's a better than 50-50 chance, assuming they don't have cards. I've got Valor that I'm going to play on the first turn. So if I do take Pelargir, there's a chance it's going to take them 2 actions to go ahead and retake it, and there's a chance I can muster back. So it can give me 1 more turn. And I decide to, yeah, it's pretty good. They get 2 hits. I get 2 hits. It's looking really good. And we just kind of get into this slugfest of, just missing until they hit. And I do not retake Pelargir, which actually matters a ton, as we will see. They muster an Umbar, and I do think do they have Corsairs? They don't. And we go on to the next turn. So at this point, I think, correct me if I'm, so let's roll. It's so bad. They even got the Lidless Eye this turn, so. So at this point, I think that there's 2 ways for me to survive. Dol Amroth goes ahead and survives, or I dunk it. And the only thing that I can do to help Dol Amroth survive is I could move Gandalf and then play Gwahir, which would take 2 dice. Or I could use this Will of the West to go ahead and draw a card and get a 2 out of whatever this is, 13 chance to draw either Círdan Ships or Immerhill, both of which would be great. Who knows? I decide to hide. My opponent plays Shelobs. So the hunt pool looks just real dirty. real dirty. Yeah. I don't know what y'all would do. It's kind of a tough choice. Obviously, if I had taken Pelargir last turn, I would have mustered as much as I could into Pelargir. And my opponent, only having a couple of moves, I don't think could have reclaimed Pelargir plus taken Dol Amroth, and I could have had 1 more turn where perhaps there would have been fewer eyes in the hunt box. But I do decide to move. I don't know if this is the right choice. I really don't. But I would love to know what y'all would have done, because this is kind of like the fun ending turns. I get an eye, which is, the 3rd best tile I could get. It's a 4 reveal, which sucks because it puts me in a position where if I get another eye, I lose. So I've got a 25% chance to win by dunking. They go ahead and they move their guys up. I'm thinking, okay, maybe there's a chance. I hide. Again, we can look at the shadow hand. They have hill trolls, which is, kind of sucks. But to activate hill trolls, they need to move these guys from Pelargir into Dol Amroth. I was a little confused at what they were doing beforehand. It's like, why are you moving these guys? It's like, that's not really going to help. I keep passing in the hopes that Dol Amroth fails. I don't even know. I think I muster someone. It really doesn't matter at this point. And this is, and that's the death knell. If they didn't have hill trolls, I would have waited. I definitely think Dol Amroth getting 3 6s on 10 die is less than a 50-50 chance. I think I would have waited till next turn to go ahead and move. And there's almost nothing that they can do to make this hunt worse. There's only one thing. Almost everything else is not as bad. So I could have gotten theirs another way. They could have rolled fewer eyes. And I would have moved at the start of the next turn to prevent Lidless Eye from happening. But they go ahead, they get their 2 elites, and at this point, it's guaranteed that Dol Amroth is going to fall. And so I go for the move. I unfortunately get an eye, which is likely. There's only 25% chance not, and the game is lost. Um, so I hope you guys like that. It's much shorter than the other videos, but it kind of cuts into like the decisions that made or break the game. So, anyways, if you guys like these types of, I'm going to call them War of the Ring puzzles, let me know, and I'll post more of them as opposed to posting the full games because sometimes the full games can get a little bit long. Okay, thanks, y'all.